to get that shape. And we know that that sharp point there needs to finish off at the bottom, underneath, the level with the bottom of the car. And then again, as we bend them that way, we'll bend them compoundly that way as well, so that the shape there is sympathetic to the contour of the wing. So that's going to go there, and it's going to push as tight as we can in underneath the tadpole beading, or right up to the tadpole beading. So we've got that point there, we've got it pushed up there, and that's there. Obviously it's covering that rivet there, and we can see that it does expose a little bit of the aluminium underneath. So if I could just have a marker, men, could you just scribe there for me, Paul, underneath that stone guard? Michael. So we've just scribed there. We need to snip that off. So we need to snip that off. And then the next thing we need to do is to drill this. We do see so many Robin Hoods that have got these stone guards on incorrectly. We need to put a row of pot rivets all the way around there. They need to be about 1.25 inches apart, and need to go around there so that they are around about 3/8 of an inch from the edge. So we're going to mark that 1/2 inch, 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, all the way around, including the corners, and then that will go onto there. We'll drill them. And then in the kit we got some tadpole beading. I think it just sheer popped up that these lads got yellow, and that tadpole beading goes in between the aluminium and the chrome of the stone guard, and it finishes on the stainless of the stone guard. It makes it look really, really neat. This same stuff that we give you loads of could also go around that frame, and it can be used in lots of places to finish off. So that's a job that they'll get on with, and that starts to make the car to look quite complete, and it starts to make it look quite professional. And remember, any kind of mesh you've got underneath here, that will cover it up. Along the same lines of moving towards, because obviously all these things, I'm telling you all these things, and the lads can get on and do them. If you could pass me the snap-on trim, in order to finish off the front cycle wings, then we've got snap-on trim that goes round the edge of the wings. It does give you that extra kind of 3/4 of an inch width of the wings that, without any doubt, these 8-inch wings have covered the tyre, but with an extra bit of trim round them, it will just help to finish them off. We start off at the bottom down there, and we push this on all the way around the wing, like so. That pushes on all the way around the wing, right round the front, and it does just finish off the wing, makes it look nice and professional. It doesn't leave the sharp edge, and it obviously gets you around the SVA regulations. So that's another job that they'll actually do. Another job they can do is start on the radiator, which they'll have to do in conjunction with the they'll have to do this in conjunction with the nose cone, and the top of it is the one with the 3 tags on, 1, 2, 3. The bottom only has 2 tags, and there's a slot in it. That slot just there, we need to cut that off carefully. So without cutting into the body of the radiator, with a hacksaw, we cut that off. These are terrific radiators. These are lightweight radiators. They weigh no weight at all. If you need to refer to it, it is the Max Cool radiator, and that goes into there like that, and it does fit in the car at an angle, but we do need to fit this in conjunction with the nose cone. So at this stage, just leave it floating put the nose cone on, wherever it falls in the nose cone, that's where it will stay. And then we'll just, from your scrap aluminium, we'll make some brackets that come off these tags here to hold it in position. We need to plumb it up. And plumbing it up is pretty straightforward, because if you've still got the hoses from your Ford Sierra or whatever donor vehicle you use, then it's pretty definite that you can utilise those hoses. If you haven't got the hoses from the Ford Sierra, then Robin Hood do sell convoluted hoses. Quite clever things are, they're not expensive. They've got a spring in them, in the middle of them, so they'll go around corners. So you can see that they'll go around corners to a certain degree. That could go on there like that, and then if you've got any pipes, any supplementary bits of pipes you've got left over, then the 38mm tube pushes into that. So you can get round anywhere with that, with these hoses and the 38mm pipe. Obviously one of these convoluted hoses goes on the bottom, and that goes just inside the nose cone like that. So the lads will carry on and fit this. Then it leaves you a big area in front of the nose cone to put your electric fan. We've got the pedals in now. We know that they miss the steering shaft, and we've got the accelerator pedal in, and we've got things that aren't supplied with the kit that Michael's been out and bought. And he's bought a master cylinder here, a really nice one. It's got a reservoir on the top, and it's a twin tandem one. So there's got two bits inside it, quite complicated. One for the front brakes and one for the back brakes. So that's something that they'll be fitting this as well onto there. So that's something they've had to buy in, and this is something that you will have to buy at home to supplement your lightweight. There are other things as well. I think he's been out and bought a standard Ford Sierra clutch cable. It's not worth using the old one. They are very, very cheap. So we've got the standard clutch cable for the Ford Sierra that's going to be used. They're not expensive. You could get one from Robin Hood if you wish. So you can see that there's a hole there, and I can see that hole's right about 13mm. So we need to have that hole drilled in that front plate. Probably the camera can't see on the front of the box, to extend the end of that nylon thing there, and we need to make some adaptation on the end of the pedal to take the nipple that's on the end, which I'll cover later. That end just goes straight onto the fork of the Type 9 gearbox, and that slot goes into the hole there, goes into the normal place on the Ford Sierra where it goes, which is I think on the bottom of the engine. So that's straightforward. Make sure you actually route this very, very carefully past the manifold. It's got to go past the manifold. It's got to be kept quite a long way from the manifold. These cables are really good these days. They always slide really freely. It's because although there is a spiral metal main case of the cable, it has got nylon in the inside of it. So too close to the exhaust, it'll melt the nylon, and you'll wonder why your clutch is sticking or it appears to be slipping, and you'll be taking the engine out, the gearbox out, and buying a new clutch only to find out it's your cable that's seized up. So keep that well away from the exhaust. If it has got to go through the exhaust, then you'll have to put some protection around it to stop it getting hot. So we're left with lots of little jobs for the lads to do now. But they are going to make a start with the windscreen frame. Another thing I just draw your attention to is this is something that we actually sell as a separate item. If you pass me those moulded boot covers. So can you see these? Many of you won't actually need these, because many of you will have your own ideas about what you're going to do behind you in the way of a cover for the fuel tank stroke luggage area. And lots of you will have your wife beavering away now, making a nice tonneau cover on a sewing machine, or those of you that are gifted woodwork wise and will make it a nice hardwood mahogany top chest to go on there. Some of it may be beaten aluminium out to make a kind of a tonneau cover. It's never ending, or some of you just leave it as it is because it looks purposeful and mean. But those of you who want to spend a little bit of money will be buying these fronts, and these may look quite strange, but they are vacuum formed. And what actually happens is there are 6 components here. There are actually 7 in the set. You do get another one. In fact, you get 8 including the lid. But you'll be cutting these out, and these long ones go as caps as you step into the cockpit. And this curved one here goes as a cap to supplement the cockpit ones. So the long ones go on there, the curved ones go on there, and then the ones that's got the recess in them go on the back corners. And the recess is obviously for a fuel cap, for a Robin Hood style fuel cap. So there's one on the left, one on the right, and then the other 2 that I haven't shown you yet. One is that goes across the back, and the final one is a lid. So it's a set that isn't expensive for Robin Hood, and it's vacuum formed, and it does finish the car quite nicely. So these lads will be eventually fitting these, not straight away, but they'll be fitting those eventually.